Still the second be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better arm waiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Good morning again, we'll say. We have come to that time in our service that we call our historical tribute. It's a time that we here, we'll say, take out each and every Sunday to pay honor, to pay homage, to pay tribute to some significant, not necessarily famous, but some significant person, place, event, or organization in our history. Today's tribute will be about the woman whose voice you just heard. Her name is Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagon. She was born on October 4th, 1942, and joined the ancestors 3 months ago on July 17th. And I thank Minister Bill for alerting me that the sister who I knew in D.C. had joined the ancestors. Now, I heard Minister Gregg say one time that when you talk about a person, that you see the date that they were born and the date that they passed away, but what's important is the dash in the middle. That the dash represents what they did in life. And I want to say that this sister did so much with her dash that I couldn't squeeze it all into 10 minutes. So I'm apologizing in advance that this tribute's going to take a little bit longer than normal 10 minutes. Now, when I think about our history since we've been in this country, there are three horrendous times for us. One, of course, was slavery. And the other, not in this country, but in South Africa, was apartheid. And the third, of course, is the Jim Crow era. That spawned the civil rights movement. Bernice Johnson Reagon grew up in the civil rights era. She was a worker in the civil rights era. Now, as we know, in the apartheid era, music was important, and there was a song in Kose Sikaleva that became the most powerful song in the world. Well, in our struggle, the civil rights struggle, which predated the apartheid struggle, there was a musical soundtrack to our struggle too. And that soundtrack was led by Dr. Bernice Reagon, who became part of what a group called the Freedom Singers.
I often think, it's easy for a person living up in safety to sing about freedom, but to really know how to sing those songs, maybe you'd have to face the dogs, face the hoses and the water, and go to jail, as these four young people have gone to jail not once or twice, but some of them as many as a dozen or 2 dozen times during the past 2 years in trying to make our country a more democratic country. Here they are, the Freedom Singers from Albany, Georgia.
Now I'm tired of segregation, and now I want my equal rights, well respect and education, well I told the integration, and that's why I'm fighting for my rights. I'm fighting for my rights. Yes, I'm fighting for my rights.
Now, as I said, they were the soundtrack of the civil rights struggle, and they sang many, many songs that we know and recognize, and many that we have sung here at Will Say. I woke up this morning with the man set on freedom. I woke up this morning with the man, Lord, set on freedom. I woke up this morning with the man set on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Now, when we think about the civil rights struggles, a lot of us think about the historic March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. Well, the Freedom Singers were also at the March on Washington. Now, I mentioned that the most powerful song in the world at one time was Nkosi Sikelel. But before that, the most powerful song in the world came from our civil rights struggle. And here it's going to be led by the Freedom Singers.
In the process of working throughout the South and going to jail and getting beat and being in mass meetings and singing, there's one particular song that became the theme song of this movement. It is a powerful song. You can go anywhere in the world today where there is struggle, and you will find this song, and you will still see people in the streets marching and singing it. It is our gift to the world people in struggle. We want to ask you to stand up and cross your right hand over left and sing with us, We Shall Overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Lord, we shall
Now, that song still means something to those of us who are around. And those of us 70 years old, that song still means something. It still touches my heart every time I hear it. And I want to make it clear that that was before Stokely Carmichael came up with the term Black Power and before we raised our black fist. So that's why they said, put your right hand over your left hand. Anyway, the Freedom Singers, many years after the civil rights struggle ended, were honored in the White House by a president you might recognize.
In 1962, in my hometown, we were engaged in a very intense struggle against racial segregation. And there were mass jailings. At one point, a federal judge issued an injunction with names on it of the people they thought were the leaders of the movement. Reverend Samuel Wells was in Shiloh Baptist Church that night, and he said, I'm not going to let no injunction turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. Wait, I know this is a show, but you have to actually sing this song. You can never tell when you might need it. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, marching up the
Now that's Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagan that some of us may not be familiar with. Now, but in 1973, she became the Bernice Johnson Reagan that I think all of us know. In 1973, she founded Sweet Honey in the Rock.
Yeah.
Sweet Honey is a group of women who come out of that legacy of the civil rights movement, coming out of slavery and the tradition of spirituals. All of those musics put issues on the table.
Sweet Honey is unique. It's the color of that voice, the passion, and then you pick up those words and you say, my, this is something I need to pay attention to.
There's something very primal in the human voice, reaching for its full song and its full message. We're afraid of finding the full breadth of our voices. And Sweet Honey not only gives us permission, they challenge us to do that, and they show us how.
My God calls to me in the morning dew. The power of the universe knows my name. Gave me a song to sing and send me on my way. I raise my voice for justice. I am
We sing to offer a look at the world from the Black woman's voice. The world needs to know what it looks like to us, and that's why we exist.
And now I want to let Dr. Reagan, talk a little about herself and how music is important to our people.
So that I'm here, so that I'm here, so that I'm here, so that I'm here.
You can look at Black people of a certain age and you just start almost like a standard repertoire, and you can go 40 to 50 songs and they won't miss a one. I felt like there was no air I breathed that these songs didn't exist in. I didn't even think of them as songs. I didn't think of them as things I needed to learn. They just came with the territory. Let your little light shine, shine. When we look at that body of song, you can feel people are talking about things that happen to them every day. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Did my Lord deliver Dan, and why not every man? Joshua at the Battle of Jericho. These songs have to do a lot more with stating a worldview or positioning yourself in the world than specific songs that are instruments of a particular worship service.
jails, 'cause I want my freedom, well, I want my freedom, yes, I want my, I ain't scared of your jail.
Civil rights movement was one time when I experienced a different. It was very important for me as a woman to go through the civil rights movement and see women in leadership roles. It was important to me as a young person to be in jail and to be chosen not by vote, but just by deference as a leader, because I seemed to be so clear about why I was there. And I've seen meetings where a sheriff has walked into a mass meeting and established the air. This is a sheriff everybody knows, and they're taking pictures or taking names, and you just know your job is in trouble. And the only way people could take the space back was by starting a song. And inevitably, when police would walk into mass meetings, somebody would start a song. And then people would join in. And as people joined in, the air would change. When I talk about the civil rights movement, I'm talking about my coming into my position as an adult human being. And I talk about the civil rights movement because that's the time I had. That's the battleground where I was formed as a fighter. I think every generation has an equivalent or even bigger opportunity to cut its teeth on its issues of the day. In '73, when I started Sweet Honey in the Rock, I had never sung a song in my life. I heard quartets sing it in Georgia. And I knew that it's a part of black and white sacred music tradition. And there was a Sweet Honey in the Rock in my head. So the first time I pulled this group together is the first song I taught them. It's a parable that talks about a land that is so rich when you crack the rocks, honey flow from it. And I grew to really embrace those concepts because there's so much around sweetness and honey and strength and rocks that seem to be not possible in the same package.
You believe in freedom, cannot rest until it comes. You believe in freedom, cannot rest. Hear me talking to you. You believe in freedom, cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men. Mother's sons is as important as the killing of white men. White mother's sons. Do you believe in freedom and not rest? Sing it with me if you like it. Do you believe in freedom and not rest until it comes?
Dr. Bernice Reagon has died, she used her alto voice and carefully penned lyrics to bring attention to the racism and injustices of the Jim Crow era.
1962.
She continued her activism, music, and education throughout her life. Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagon was 81 years old.
Battlefield, I'm gonna stay on the battlefield. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield till I die. Makes you feel it? Gonna stay on the battlefield. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield. I'm gonna stay on the battlefield till I die. Sister Song.
This morning's service is dedicated to Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagon. She stayed on the battlefield until she died. And it's also dedicated to all of the people, the ancestors who gave their voices in struggle for the liberation and the honor and the dignity of our people. May their memories rest in peace. May their memories, sorry, I'm touched. May their memories be a part of our spirit and last forever and forever and forever and forever. Thank you, we'll sing.